Well, good Sunday. Welcome to Breaking Chains, the weekend book club that we have, where we are currently reading Hope, a memoir of survival in Cleveland by Amanda Berry and Gina DeJesus. This is the story of the girls, the young women at the time who were kidnapped in Cleveland, Ohio, about 10 years ago and survived to tell the story. And two out of the three girls wrote this book. Another girl wrote another book. Her name is Michelle Knight, but we are reading this book. Hello, Liberty Farmer. Nice to see you. And once again, I am joined by my lovely co-reader, Cinnamon. Cinnamon Girl. Hello, Cinnamon Girl.
Hello, Lynn. How are you?
I'm not going to lie. Just today, you hit the thumbs down so low. How dare you? but while I'm thinking about it, hit that thumbs up. Thank you very much. I'm not gonna lie. I'm feeling a little flashbacky today. And I'm not saying this I don't want to gain sympathy by saying any of this. I think a lot of people can relate to this feeling. And, it's just part of the process of, being a person with PTSD. and, and I'll explain what I mean by this. So, when I went through some trauma a couple years ago on YouTube, I don't think I really talked a lot online about what it was like and how it felt, but man, I was feeling it. It was really bad. It was pretty horrible for some time. And there's a lot of that activity going on right now, and there's a particular account on X, Twitter, that is, you're welcome, Solo. And that's what this is about. There's a particular account on X that is literally, I don't think you contributed to it, Liberty. I don't think you did. But if you did, fuck you. No, I'm kidding. I don't think you did. I don't think you did. But anyway, what I'm speaking about specifically is, there's this team that's supposed to be, the investigative or intelligence agency looking for Sebastian. But
does this have to do with the video that you posted?
No. Well, I mentioned this in the video, but it has nothing to do with
Okay.
Jennifer. Just doesn't have anything to do with Jennifer Coffindaffer.
Okay.
I'm a little tired from making that video because I worked on it all day yesterday. Hey,
I bet.
Sparkles. Hey, it's nice to see you. But what this guy named Hong is part of the At Night team, who is supposedly the intelligence agency looking for Sebastian. And at the moment, he is literally posting trash about people, all kinds of people, including Katie and Chris Proudfoot. And look, I don't know whether Katie and Chris Proudfoot are involved. I don't know whether Seth is involved, but I don't want any of them to be attacked ruthlessly online. And this guy is ruthlessly, viciously attacking these people. I mean, saying that they're doing drugs, saying that YouTubers are selling drugs to them, saying that, and this guy is a plaintiff in a lawsuit. And this is why it's flashbacky to me, because, Lana Truth and Transparency filed something like 19 lawsuits, and I was one of them that she filed against. And while she's filing these lawsuits, claiming harassment, claiming defamation, and all this stuff, she was doing the most, coming out here and doing the most vile, vicious shit. And that's what he's doing.
Mm.
And it turns your brain inside out. It turned your brain inside out because you're like, wait a minute. You're saying that I'm harassing you and I'm defaming you. And you're out here saying that you're out here accusing me of doing, and this is just, hypothetically, you're out here saying I'm doing drugs and I killed my child. I mean, and I put myself in the place of the missing child's parents, like specifically, like if I'm Katie Proudfoot, he's literally saying that he killed her child. I mean,
Right.
she killed her child. And like her kid is missing. I mean, this really makes me emotional.
Yeah. It's understandable for sure. I mean, this is the internet, unfortunately.
Yep.
There's a lot of good to it, but there are really nasty, mean, horrible people that take advantage.
Oh,
just because they can, they can say anything they want.
Exploit. And
exploit is right.
And, I've been thinking about this. It wasn't until I came onto YouTube when I saw how vicious and cruel and mean people could be. I knew that there was people who are vicious and mean and cruel in the world. Of course, I'm a child SA survivor, right? From my own fucking parent, right? So I know that can happen. I know that exists. But I didn't know it was so vast and so prolific, and so many people just want to come on the internet and just spill hate, and then that there's actual entire companies that want to participate in it and encourage it because it makes money.
Yes.
I know, I agree, Liberty. I agree. So, I mean, my presence on YouTube is all about how to, logically think around all that bullshit and, get beyond it. But, sometimes it just gets to me. Just seeing how vicious people can be. And, what could I know what drives that kind of anger and hate. I know it just makes me so freaking sad. Sometimes it just gets to me. And I know when I'm having an emotional flashback, it's when, like I get this really raw feeling inside and it's hard for me to stop from crying,
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm okay. I'm totally okay. Just because I cry doesn't mean I've lost control or anything like that. It just is the way it is, and it'll be okay.
Well, I think it's human to feel the emotion. And, in situations like this, I think it's impossible, especially, if there are things that are triggers, and past trauma. How do you galvanize yourself, against people who are just mean and cruel and vicious like that? I don't think you can. And we all react differently. I think it's actually good that you cry, because at least to me, it seems like you're recognizing the emotion and you're sitting with it, and it's coming out in the form of, crying. And that's good. Yeah. I think that's good. Other people just suppress it and, just sort of keep it in, and then probably have a big, venting session. I'm sort of guilty of that myself, but it's okay. And, if today you cry, that's okay. We're okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna belabor it or anything. It's just hard to, remembering how it felt for me.
Right.
And I wasn't missing a child.
Right.
I didn't have my son out there,
I know.
That's what kills me, that, you know, it would be one thing if this was the knitting community, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we're dealing with people who just who have children missing, and
That's
they
right.
are being attacked.
I know. I can't. I mean, I don't. It's just horrible. It's worse than horrible.
Yeah,
I hope that they're just staying off, the
I do
internet
too.
and
I
not looking at any of this bullshit because it's just vicious and mean and so cruel.
yeah, yeah. The what seeing what people are capable of doing to each other, and what you
It's
were
very
saying,
disheartening, isn't it?
yeah,
It makes you really. I mean, I always want to see the good side of humanity,
yeah, me
but
too.
you know what? You don't always see that. And I think here on the internet, it's more apparent than almost anywhere else because, like I said, people can get on, they can be whoever they want, they can say any goddamn thing they want. And what are what are the consequences? In most cases, probably not very much,
In the
Now,
vast majority of cases,
right.
nothing. Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Right? So that's the thing, and it's like, how do you create a circle of
yeah.
security around yourself, on the internet? I don't know. I don't know how to do that, but I think finding channels like yours, like this one, where we can, talk about some of this stuff, but we're looking at, true crime and real trauma and horrible things that have happened to people, but there is we're looking at people who have survived. There's a positive side to what we talk about and how we are really portraying a lot of this stuff. So it's the I mean we're here to heal too. I mean, that's part of, you've had your past trauma, so have I. And I imagine that many of us here, those of us that are in chat, have had
I
the
think
same, right?
you know what I've learned? I've learned that like I don't think I've ever talked to a single person who hasn't experienced at least one trauma in their life. Seriously. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's just like it's a thing, you know, it's life.
It is life. But the scars that are formed from any of those traumas that any of us experience, some of them are deeper than others, but they still hurt, and as you can go through therapy, you can do all the things you're supposed to do to, resolve everything and be good about it. I've done all that. It's still there. It's
Yeah,
like,
what you do is you learn how to live with it. You learn how to
yeah,
live with it. You learn how to deal with the triggers and
yes, yes,
how to move through it. And
right.
also, and I will say that I think this we are now in the part of our evolution um where we're learning how we're like growing a thicker skin because of social media. We're growing a thicker skin about how to do
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
It's fun.
Otherwise, don't be here, right?
Yeah.
Don't be here because it is, you need that um, if you're going to be here and if you're going to have a channel
Yeah.
and, be public, be vocal about things. I don't know how you do it otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. And Solo, you know, you're right. Twitter doesn't do crap about it. And also, they've gotten worse, far, 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 far worse.
Far, far, far worse. Yes.
Far worse since Elon took over. I think that so much of the stuff I've seen this guy Hong tweet, I don't think a lot of it would have been allowed when I worked there, for sure. When I worked there in 2012, they were much more careful about that type of stuff. And I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But enough, enough about me. I wanted to mention Sherry Frankie just wrote a book, came out with a book, and Sherry Frankie is, I think she's the eldest daughter of Ruby Frankie.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
interesting.
Liberty. No, I didn't see it. I did not see Fink D's latest interview. That's his online name, Mark Zuckerberg. I did not see that. I have.
They're moving their their monitoring department. I'm not I what's the name for it? The people who monitor the site, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're moving it to Texas.
Of course.
And yeah, yeah.
Hey,
And
Harriet, nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a little while.
yeah.
Happy New Year. Oh, really? Is that what he was talking
That
about?
was one of the things he talked about. I forget the rest, but it all sounded like, he was sort of conspiring with Elon Musk in some way. That was how I interpreted it. And then I'm thinking, okay, there,
Well, all the oligarchs have to group together now, and you know what I mean.
I know.
They have to come together now. And sorry, I'm trying to be political, but
I know. They are. And it's, oh my gosh.
they
I,
have to
it's,
show they have to show their solidarity.
let's see how it goes, right?
Yeah. I might have to cut this part out of my story. Oh my god. Oh,
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
I
It's
know. Well, I was thinking about this. So, just one thing. Next Sunday, I will be unfortunately in Houston, traveling, so I won't be able to join you for this. Just so you know, but I'll be back the following weekend, so we
okay,
can
cool.
continue then. And the inauguration is when, on the 20th.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Houston on the 20th and surrounded by
Oh, wow.
I know, I'm dreading it. I am dreading it. I I feel like I need to put a cone of protection around me.
Be careful. I mean, I think
I know.
that's gonna be a very
Heated. I know. It's yeah,
what was
exactly.
that?
Oh, sorry, that was my microphone. I hit it by
Oh,
mistake.
it
Sorry.
sounded like a piano
I know,
piece,
right?
like
I
a
know.
piano
I
strings
Why
or
did
something.
it do that? I know. It's on I've got it on a little arm here and I hit it and it does that thing. So it's like
No problem.
sorry about that.
It's okay. All right. Well, let's bring up our reading, and I think we will have you start reading this time because
Okay.
my eyes are a little blurry today too because my on and off like
Crying.
rubbing them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no worries, no
All right.
worries.
So
Okay. You
we
just if you need me to read more, I'm happy to do that. So you
I
just
sh-
let me
I
know.
should I should be fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, here we are. December psychic fallout. On the drive back to the airport after her appearance on Montel Williams' show, Luana stared out the window in silence. She and Beth talked a little about 9/11 as they drove near Ground Zero, but Luana didn't mention Sylvia or Amanda. When they returned home, Luana, who had been angry for so long, now seemed only sad. Beth tried to cheer her up, but nothing seemed to get through. On the first Christmas that Amanda had been gone, Luana had bought her an M&M poster and a gold bracelet, little things she thought Amanda would like. But this year, there was no talk of gifts. Instead, Luana would lie silently on Amanda's bed and listen to her radio for hours, smoking and drinking alone. April 2nd, 2005, Vigils. For a year after Gina went missing, Nancy and Felix held candlelight vigils every Friday on the corner where she was last seen. The crowds eventually waned and they held the gatherings less often, but more than 50 people turned out on the cold, windy night of the first year anniversary of her disappearance, standing in a circle at Lorraine and West 105th Street, holding hands and praying. They then marched 5 blocks to Wilbur Wright Middle School, chanting Gina's and Amanda's names, along with the name of another girl who had been missing from the neighborhood for a decade, Christina Adkins. Beth marched with them. Over the past year, Nancy and Felix had become aware of what seemed to be an epidemic of missing children
Sorry, I'm right here. In America. And they felt an obligation to talk about not just Gina, but all of them. Nancy began making calls to groups that supported the cause, educating herself on the issue. She discovered that thousands of children disappear in America every year and was struck by how little she had known about them. It seemed to her that no one was paying enough attention to the issue. Nancy only learned about Christina Adkins after her own daughter never came home from school. She started to tell everyone she could, people are taking our children and we've got to stop it. She was determined to become a public advocate, a voice for the missing kids, but she was often crippled by sadness. One night, when she thought she couldn't take the pain any longer, she prayed, "Please take this burden off of me because I cannot carry it." She felt immediate relief and a shot of new energy and kept praying, "Please, God, open your arms and wrap them around Gina." She remained certain that Gina was alive and that God would watch over her. In a quiet act of faith, Nancy opened a bank account for Gina and deposited $20 or $30 on it every month. There's a little bit of noise coming from your end.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got it. I got it handled.
Okay, no problem. And deposited $20 or $30 in it every month. August 2005 testimony. On August 30th, 2005, Fernando Colon stood trial on charges that he had molested Nilda and Ariel Castro's daughters, Emily, age 16, and Arlene, age 13. The previous September, at a time when Castro was holding Amanda, Gina, and Michelle captive, he had taken his two daughters to a police station to file a
complaint that Cologne had touched them inappropriately while they slept. Cologne insisted that the charges were false and had been instigated by Castro, who he said had coached them into making the allegations. Nilda defended Cologne in court, corroborating Cologne's testimony that Castro had persuaded the girls to make false charges in exchange for money and gifts. If anything inappropriate had occurred, my daughters would have been quick to tell me, Nilda said in an affidavit filed in the case. She explained that Arlene told her that she'd had a dream that Cologne had touched her, and that dream had become an exaggerated story. 5 days before Cologne's trial, Nilda reported to police that Castro was pressuring Emily, who was then living in Fort Wayne, Indiana, to return to Cleveland to testify against Cologne. Nilda and Castro told her he was going to bring Emily back and beat your ass in front of her. Nilda sought a restraining order in domestic relations court, barring Castro from coming near her or her children, telling the court about years of violence by Castro and that he had threatened to kill her and her kids. Even though Castro had no visitation rights, she said he frequently abducts his daughters and keeps them from her. The court issued a temporary restraining order that required Castro to complete batterer counseling and banned him from drinking alcohol, using illegal drugs, or possessing a deadly weapon. No home visit was ordered. The temporary restraining order raised no red flags at the school system where Castro was a bus driver. A prosecutor said there were so many domestic violence cases that it was virtually impossible to check them against all school and city employees. The court then
scheduled a hearing to determine whether to make that restraining order permanent. On the day of the hearing, Castro and his lawyer appeared before the magistrate, as did Nilda, but her lawyer, Robert A. Ferrari, failed to show up because he had a hearing at the same time in juvenile court. The magistrate would not proceed without Nilda's lawyer present, and he gave her 2 weeks to file for a new hearing. Because she did not, her case was dismissed, and Castro was free of any legal constraints. Nilda later told Elida that after her lawyer failed to appear, she lost her nerve to pursue the case. But Cologne's case went to trial and provided dramatic courtroom testimony about Ariel Castro's long history of violence against Nilda. The defense's central argument was that Ariel Castro was a violent, vindictive, and controlling man who was fully capable of using his own daughters as a means to settle a grudge against a man who was now living with his ex-wife. What did take place here is not exactly a love triangle, Ferrari told the judge. It's kind of a power triangle. It's kind of a control triangle. Mr. Castro is obsessed with power and control over Nilda. Just after lunch on Wednesday, September 1st, Castro took the witness stand. Prosecutor John Costco asked for his address, and Castro told him 2207 Seymour Avenue, where at that moment he was holding Amanda, Gina, and Michelle. "Does anyone live there with you?" Costco asked. "No," Castro replied. Under questioning, Castro acknowledged that his relationship with Nilda had been violent at times, but that she provoked it.
We were always arguing, you know. She always waited until I would come home, like especially on the holidays or something. She always waited for me to have a beer or two before she would start stuff, and I never understood that. Why? When I was okay, there was no fights, but for some reason, when I would have a beer or two, she always started fighting. So I couldn't understand why. When asked if their confrontations had ever gotten physical, Castro replied, "There was times that she did get physical with me. She would throw herself on me, striking me. One time, yes, we struggled together and we fell, and she fell and hit her head on the door jamb." Castro denied more than 20 times that he had ever laid a hand on Nilda. Nilda took the stand the following day, describing publicly for the first time what Castro had done to her over the course of many years. "Did Mr. Castro ever physically assault you?" Ferrari asked. "Yes." "Did he do that more than once?" "Yes." "Did Mr. Castro ever strike you in such a way that you required medical attention?" "Yes." "Did he ever do that more than once?" "Yes." "Did Mr. Castro ever cause you to get medical attention at a hospital?" "Yes."
Did you ever receive any cuts or bruises from Mr. Castro? Yes. Did you ever have any dislocated limbs from Mr. Castro? Yes. Did you ever have any problems with your eyesight or your nerves in your face as a result of Mr. Castro? Yes. Did you ever have any problems with your brain or inner workings of your brain? Yes. Thanks to Mr. Castro? Yes. Nilda recounted the first time Castro beat her, when a small disagreement escalated and he punched her in the face, grabbed her by the head, and threw her, like, trigger warnings all around you guys, and threw her onto the concrete floor. She said Castro had punched her so many times over the years that she required 2 reconstructive surgeries on her nose, as well as dental surgery. She recalled that one time when she was pregnant, he demanded that she wash the dishes. I told him I was tired and tried to wait, and I yelled a little, but I don't usually yell, but I was too tired, so he just punched me in the mouth and took my teeth out. He dislocated my shoulders about twice by just throwing me around, most of the time pulling my arm to the back. He felt that it was some kind of punishment that I needed. Did he always just hit you with his hand, or did he sometimes use other objects? He used whatever he could get his hands on. Once he used a metal pipe. And what did he do with the pipe?
"He beat me over the head with it. It was always on the head most of the time." "And did the hospital do any surgical procedures on you at that time when he hit you with the metal piece?" "Yes, I had maybe about 25, 40 stitches on my head at that time." "Did Mr. Castro ever hit you in the head again?" "Yes." "Did he use his hand or did he use an object?" "Then next time after that, it was with a hand bar. Weight." "An exercise weight?" "Yes, I was 9 months pregnant with Emily. He hit me over the head with it, beat me." Nilda testified that Castro had punched her so hard in the eye that her sight was severely damaged, and it left one of her eyes permanently squinty. She said Castro repeatedly referred to her as his property. "He says it all the time, repeats that to me all the time. I'm scared of him." Asked about the prognosis for the tumor that had been discovered, she testified, "I have none. I mean, there's nothing they can do for the tumor. They tried, but they couldn't do anything." "Would it be fair to say that the prognosis is, in medical terms, terminal?" "Yes." Emily and Arlene had testified at the start of the trial that Cologne had touched them inappropriately many times, but Nilda asserted in her own testimony that she believed Castro had manipulated the girls into making up the allegations against Cologne. She said both girls had emotional and behavioral problems, and Arlene's had
become much worse since her close friend Gina DeJesus had disappeared the previous year. I took her, Arlene, to a psychologist, and he evaluated her with post-traumatic stress disorder. She was Gina's best friend, and she was with her when she disappeared shortly before that, so it traumatized Arlene because Arlene felt responsible for her disappearance. Gina's vanishing had affected the entire family. Arlene had to change schools and repeat seventh grade and ultimately was expelled from her new school for poor attendance and disruptive behavior. Ferrari pressed Nilda about why she hadn't sought more help from the police over the years of beatings she endured. Because I always thought he was going to change. In your culture, it is likely, or in your family, if there's something that goes on, do you run to the police or do you fix it up among yourselves? Yes, we try to fix it among ourselves. Do you consider it an intrusion on your family to bring the police into anything? Yes. And when Mr. Castro said, "I won't hit you anymore," did you believe him? Yes. Did you want to believe him? Yes, I wanted to believe him because I thought that maybe he would change. Did you hope and pray that he would change? Yes, I did. Do you believe he's ever capable of change? No.
Colon was convicted of gross sexual imposition, a felony, and sentenced to 3 years probation, but was acquitted of the more serious charges of rape and being a sexually violent predator. Without any physical evidence or witnesses, the only evidence against Colon was the testimony of the two girls. John Costco, the prosecutor, said that because the case was in the end a matter of he said, she said, the judge delivered a compromised verdict, which Costco believed was fair. In the end, Costco didn't believe the theory that Castro had orchestrated the entire affair, saying that the girls' testimony was pretty convincing. Nilda and Colon ultimately split up.
Wow. Wow. I'm so struck by the fact that how much havoc this entire, I mean, Castro is obviously a horrible, horrible, destructive person just in general. But I didn't know how much just the kidnappings themselves affected the family. Like his daughter didn't even know that he was the one that did it, and it still affected her.
Right.
Right? Because it was her friend.
Right.
And she was so affected by it that it affected her behavior. And then he's incredibly violent to his ex-wife. And then I was a little distracted at the beginning of this description of like this of her, how he meddled with the relationship with her new person, with Cologne.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't quite catch all of that, but he clearly screwed with that, right?
Right.
And the other thing that struck me is, if I'm understanding this correctly, he tried to explain some of the abuse by saying, "Oh yeah, we were just wrestling with each other and then her head hit the door jamb." Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
And
Explain it away. Mm-hmm.
you know who else said that? Seth Rogers said that about Sebastian.
Mm. Oh my gosh.
Yep. Yep. I when you read that part, my mouth dropped open. Because Sebastian went to school and he was 5, 6 years old, something like that, and said, "My dad beat my ass." And Seth's explanation was, "Oh, well, he didn't clean his room and I got mad at him. And then I said to him, 'We're not going to go swimming,' or something like that. And Sebastian got mad and he charged at me and he tripped on a Hot Wheel and he was falling toward the door jamb. And I put my hand there to save him and he hit my hand."
Right.
That was his explanation. So, I mean, like and I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. You know,
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't believe that. It's just fucking. So so you hear these same cockamamie stories coming out of abusers. You know, I mean, it just makes me fucking sick. Anyway, so what are your thoughts after that chapter?
You know, it's I get angry because I feel like you know, these people aren't prosecuted
Right.
enough. And they get off, I don't know if easy is the right word, but it feels like their sentences are just really minor compared to the damage that they've caused, because it is a ripple effect. It's not just this one sort of isolated thing. I mean, you can see how it's affected, more and more people that are in this family or around this family. And it's just, it just makes me mad
Yeah.
that people get away with, this kind of horrible stuff.
Right. And a lot, sometimes it's, as we read there, sometimes it's cultural, or it's, because people are in a closed group and they want to handle it themselves, whether it's cultural or it's a religious system, you know,
Right.
like, no, we don't want to be bothered by the cops, so we'll handle it ourselves. And then the person never gets consequences, and there's no incentive to change whatsoever, not even within their own system. Like, they're not really handling it. Or if they handle it, they're handling it using the same method that they're getting in trouble for. Oh, you beat somebody's ass. Okay, I'm going to beat your ass because somebody you beat somebody's ass. Like, it's just circular.
Right. But,
And
like with Nilda, I mean, she was permanently, it sounds like she was permanently damaged, maybe even disfigured.
yeah,
How can you not be,
I
being
know.
hit by a pipe, for God's sakes?
Yeah.
And, the surgeries and her eye and, I don't know what happens to her, but it sounds like she has some sort of terminal
Tumor.
tumor. So, gosh,
It sounds like
how
she has a brain. Was it a brain tumor?
I don't know.
I wonder if brain tumors can be caused by all of this kind of, just jostling around and just intense, constant trauma.
Ugh,
You know?
I don't know, but my mind says yes, it could
Yeah,
be,
it
right?
seems like it. It
Yeah.
certainly seems like if your brain is constantly getting twisted by this person you're supposed to be living with and love, and oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Are you good with continuing to read?
Oh, sure. Yeah. How
Good.
about you? Are you okay?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, well, I will turn to the next page. Here we go. August 23, 2005. Back to the basement. Amanda. Pack up everything. I want it all out of here, he says. What are you talking about? I ask. My kids have been asking a lot of questions. They want to know why they can't go upstairs to see their old bedrooms. I've always wondered why his mother has never been here, and why his brothers and kids don't think it's suspicious that he never lets them pass the kitchen. He tells them he doesn't want them to see upstairs because it's such a mess. But I guess now they're insisting, and his daughter Emily is coming for a visit from Indiana. She's going to stay here for a couple of days. Wow. He tells me, so I'm putting you in the basement. I can't believe he's going to take the risk of having his daughter sleeping in this house. And I hate the idea of going back to the basement, but what can I do? He unchains my ankle and hands me a plastic laundry basket, and I start filling it with my stuff. I gather my pens, crayons, paper, my picture of Jesus, and my mom's photos and stack them neatly in the basket. I fold up the few clothes he has given me and I put them on top. I slip my diary to the bottom so he won't see it, because I'm afraid if he reads it, he might rip it up. He walks with me down to the basement where I leave the basket. We go back up to the room where he watches as I pick up my sheets and trash can toilet and, oh my God, and carry them downstairs too. Then he helps me carry out the mattress and the TV. Every trace of me is gone from the bedroom except for the chains. They run through a hole in the wall and
Are attached to something in the next room. He pulls the chains through, then moves the dresser in front of the hole to hide it. I pray that his kids notice something is not right. We've cleaned the room up pretty well, but maybe they'll wonder why there's wood covering the windows behind the curtains. He takes me back to the basement where all this started more than 2 years ago, and then goes back upstairs. I sit on the mattress on the floor, wondering how long I'll be down here. I look around to see if there might be a way to escape, but the door to the backyard is bolted and padlocked. After a while, he comes down with Gina and Michelle. They're carrying their own things and look scared. We're all wondering what he really has in mind down here. I need more privacy, I tell him. I don't want to go to the bathroom in front of them. It's embarrassing. I can see his mind working. He always thinks that he can rig up some gizmo and find the answer to any problem somewhere in his piles of junk. And sure enough, he sees a dirty old wooden dresser and drags it to the middle of the room, like a divider. Now, when I'm sitting on my mattress, I don't have to see them. I just wish I didn't have to hear them. Gina, I don't want to go. I don't want to be back down here. He kept me here for 2 weeks after he kidnapped me. This time, I'm chained to Michelle and the pole. Amanda's ignoring us on the other side of the dresser. She's trying to pretend that we're not even here. He's told us that she doesn't like us, but I don't know why.
You know the rules, he warns all of us. You know you're not supposed to talk. You know what you're not supposed to talk about. He loves rules. He has rules about which size spatula to use, which direction to flip an egg, what songs I can listen to. When I cook, I have to keep the pan exactly in the center of the burner, or he calls me retard or dumbass. But his bigger rule is that we're not allowed to talk about anything he says or does with us. He must really be freaked out about his kids coming over if he's putting us all together like this. Amanda. I'm watching my TV and they're just a few feet away on the other side of the dresser watching theirs. It's a little hard to concentrate with two TVs playing. Sorry. Two TVs playing different channels, but I try to tune out their shows. We've been down here for a couple hours and we haven't said anything to one another. I'm trying to keep to myself, but I'm getting more and more curious. What is he so worried about? If he doesn't want us talking, that seems like a good reason to do it. Why the hell not? I slide over and look around the dresser at them. Hey, I say. They both turn to look at me, surprised. I'm whispering so that they understand that I'm trying to make sure he doesn't hear us. It's quiet upstairs now, so maybe he's out. But for all we know, he could be hiding at the top of the stairs, testing us to see if we're talking. What are you guys watching? I ask. Just stupid stuff, Gina says.
I move my chains so I can sit on their side of the dresser, and we start talking a little. It's awkward at first, but we discuss music and TV shows. I mention that I like Eminem, and Gina says she's into Christina Aguilera. She says she misses her family and her mom's cooking. I tell them about him driving by my sister's house and telling me that he saw her girls outside wearing matching clothes. That really scared me, I tell them, because I knew it was a threat. He meant he could kidnap them if I didn't do what he said. He did the same thing to me, Gina says. He told me that if I wanted company, he would kidnap my friend Chrissy. The more we talk, the more I like them. Gina is nicer than I thought, and I think our families have a lot in common. We have seen them together on TV, so we make jokes about Tennessee hillbillies and Cleveland Puerto Ricans hanging out, and we actually laugh. Our families are better friends than we are, Gina says. A Will Smith movie is playing on their TV. He's so cute, I say. Oh, yeah, he's cute, Gina agrees. Does he tell you not to watch TV shows with Black people? I ask. Yes, they both say. We talk about what a horrible racist he is, and I tell them how he took my radio, opened it up, and stuck a little piece of plastic spoon from Wendy's inside, so I couldn't turn the dial to the station that plays mostly rap music. We make fun of how cheap he is. He insists that I water down the dishwashing liquid because he says a small bottle needs to last for at least 2 months. If I need more,
I have to ask him, and he puts a little pea-sized drop on the sponge. He has a fit if I use too much. It feels good to talk and to know that we're all feeling the same things. Gina. Amanda isn't stuck up at all, like I thought. She listens and cares when I tell her about all the sick stuff he does to me and Michelle, like how he rapes. Oh my gosh, I just said that. How he R's me and her while we're chained together. Oh God. It's as horrible watching it happen to someone else as it is having happened to you. Amanda's crying now as I tell her. I'm so sorry, she says. I didn't know he was doing that to you. She says that he told her that he was not having sex with me and Michelle, so she thought it was easier for us. He says he has me for sex, but you two are here for to be his maids. I always figured he was lying because why would you go to all the trouble of kidnapping two girls just to have them clean your house? We talk about how he says he has a sexual problem and he calls his thing Charlie. He told me it's not his fault, I say. He blames Charlie. He's always saying what Charlie wants, Charlie gets. Oh my god. Amanda. I realize now what he's been doing. He lies to them about me and he lies to me about them. That's his way of dividing us and making sure we don't trust one another. Screw him. We're on to his mind games. Conan O'Brien's show comes on TV and there's a funny skit about a bear in a diaper that runs around being really. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Obscene. It's so silly that we all crack up. It feels great to laugh after we've been talking for hours and crying. It's late and I'm about to fall asleep, but I feel like we need to get something straight first. Anything we talk about, we have to trust each other not to say anything to him, I tell them. Otherwise, we're going to get each other in trouble. We have to stick together. August 24th. Amanda. I've barely gotten to sleep when I feel him next to me. He has his clothes off and he's pulling at my sweatpants. It's humiliating. Gina and Michelle are on the other side of the dresser, and I know they're just pretending to be asleep. They're right there, I whisper through my tears. Stop it. He's mad, but he gets up and unchains me. Come upstairs, he orders, loud enough for everybody to hear. I need you to help me clean the kitchen. I walk upstairs with him and he takes me to the living room where he finishes what he started downstairs. When he's done with me, he leads me back to the basement. It's so hot in the house that I can feel his sweat all over me. I smell like him and it sickens me. He twists the chain around my ankle again and snaps the padlock shut. April 25th.
Gina. We've been down here all day watching TV and playing with a PlayStation. We've been talking about how he kidnapped us. It was almost the same experience for Amanda and me. He tricked us into his car by talking about one of his kids. We hear his footsteps across the kitchen floor, and as the basement door opens, Amanda hurries back over to her side of the dresser. My daughter Rosie is coming over, he says. Oh my God, that's my friend Arlene. Rosie is her middle name, and a lot of people call her that. I haven't seen her since the day I was taken, except that she was on America's Most Wanted, crying about missing me. Don't make a sound, he warns us. Don't talk. Don't get up to use the bathroom. Shut the TVs off. I better not hear any sound from down here. He turns off the light and leaves. She's my friend, I whisper as we sit in the dark. We go to school together and she was with me right before he kidnapped me. Amanda says he was dropping off Arlene at her mom's house right before he kidnapped her. Poor Arlene. What will she think if she ever finds out? We have other connections to kids too. Amanda tells us she went to school with Angie, his older daughter, and that she's met his son, Anthony. Michelle says she knows his daughter, Emily. I hope the police notice all the connections we have to him and his kids. We hear the back door open, then footsteps and voices in the kitchen. Arlene is 10 feet over my head. Ugh.
Amanda, we can't make out what they're saying, but Gina can tell it's Arlene's voice. There's somebody else up there, too. Maybe a friend of Arlene's. They walk through the kitchen and up the stairs to the second floor. We're too scared to make a sound. Arlene lived in this house until she was about 5 or 6, and then he told me her bedroom was the one where he kept Michelle for a long time. So I guess she wants to see her old room. After a few minutes, we hear them coming back down, and then the living room TV comes on. It sounds like they are watching videos and having a good time. They're up there laughing, and look where we are, I whisper. We're all mad, but we can't help being a little goofy, cupping our ears with our hands as if that will help us hear them better. Of course, it doesn't work, but we're giggling. It's hard to stay completely quiet, especially when you know you have to. What if we scream? Gina asks. We've all been thinking the same thing, but I've been too afraid to speak it out loud. I don't think so, I say. It's too risky. He's smart and Arlene is only 14. I'm sure he could come up with some story. He could tell her, oh, my girlfriend is downstairs with her friends and they're just messing around. He could think of some lie that Arlene would believe. He's that clever. I've seen it. And what would he do to us? He doesn't make mistakes. I'm so worried the police and FBI will never figure it out. He seems like a nice, normal, middle-aged, friendly guy. He doesn't look crazy.
That's how he gets away with this. He hides in plain sight. He says he can get away with anything, including killing us. If his daughter found out about us, how do we know he wouldn't do something terrible to her to protect himself? I tell Gina and Michelle all this, but I don't say what else I'm thinking. I'm still not completely sure I can trust them. We've become closer down here in the past few days, but maybe they are afraid of him. Maybe they are so afraid of him they would betray me. If we screamed for help, they would claim it was all my idea and he might kill only me. I think we should just keep quiet, I say. It's too dangerous. Gina, Amanda is right. We don't know what he might do if we screamed. I once told him my father was looking for me and asked him what he would do if my dad found us. Would you shoot him? I'm not going to talk about that, he answered. I do think he would kill my dad. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. After Arlene has been up there for about an hour, we hear them get up and walk out the back door. He comes down the basement stairs in a good mood. They're gone, he says. You can watch TV now if you want. He's talking a lot, which usually means he's happy. Rosie wanted to see the basement, but I made up a lie, he says. I told her I couldn't find the key and it was a mess down there anyway. He's so proud of himself.
He keeps talking about what a great time he had with Arlene and how they were laughing as they watched old family videos. August 27th, 2005, chained in the van. Gina, we've been down in the cellar for 4 days. Between visits from his kids, he's come down here a bunch of times to take Michelle upstairs to help with the quote unquote cleaning. Yeah, right. We know what he's really doing with her, and she tells us anyway. So why does he try to hide it? I don't get it. He takes Amanda upstairs too, and she's crying each time she comes back, but he hasn't bothered me. I don't know why. Maybe seeing Arlene has made him feel guilty. It's so rare that I get this much time away from his disgusting body. Late at night, we're all watching TV when we hear him come down the stairs. Okay, he says, time to go. Thank God, it's so damp and smelly down here. Emily is coming to stay overnight for a couple of days. I have to get you out of here. You're going to the garage. The garage? Oh no, maybe Arlene or his other kids figured out there was something weird going on here, so he has to get rid of us. He unlocks the chain, tying me and Michelle to the pole, and makes us stand up. We're still chained together at the ankles. He tells us to pick up our pillows and sheets and follow him out the basement door, up the steps, and into the darkness of the backyard, like prison inmates in leg chains.
Yikes. Be quiet out here, he orders. No noise. Are you going to kill us? I ask him. If I were going to kill you, I would have done that already, he says, laughing. As we make our way across the backyard in the dark, I realize it's the first time I've been outside in a year and a half. I smell freshly cut grass and feel a breeze. We see lights in the neighbors' houses on both sides, but I'm too scared to make a sound. The garage door is open and I can see his van inside facing out. Keep your heads down and walk straight to see the garage, he says. Walk straight to the garage, he says. We shuffle along the side of the van, looking at the ground. The side door is open, and he tells us to get in. The two seats in the back are folded all the way down, and he makes us lie down there, chaining us to the seats. I'll be right back, he says. Remember, no noise. We lie in the dark, afraid to say a word, and he returns a couple of minutes later with Amanda. She has a chain around her ankle, and she's carrying her pillow. She has a small mattress that he wedges through the van door. He has a small mattress that he wedges through the van door, and Amanda climbs in and sits on it. He locks her chains to the seats too. He brings out Amanda's TV and a tiny fan, sets them between the front seats, and plugs them into the garage wall. He gives us a little blue bucket for a toilet and hands us some chips and a couple of old pop bottles filled with water. I'll be back in a little while, he says, locking the van doors. It must be 100 degrees in here. The little fan is swinging slowly from side to side, pushing around the hot, wet air.
August 28th. Amanda, this van, it's the one. It's the same maroon van that drove me away from my life. I see that day happening all over again. He pulls up alongside me and I get into that passenger seat. So stupid. I'm lost enough in my thoughts that at first I don't hear Michelle speaking. I always thought you didn't like me, she says. What? I ask. I wanted to be your friend at the beginning, she says, but I thought you didn't like me. I'm too hot for this conversation. Sweat is pouring off me and it stinks in here. The bucket is on the floor right next to my mattress and everybody has used it. I'm in a rotten mood and I snap back at her. Don't be stupid. I don't need friends. I don't know why I say that. I'm not trying to be mean, but I just gave up my I just gave her my super bitch attitude. I think I'm just fed up with everything. Michelle doesn't say anything, but Gina speaks up. Ooh, you are so cool, she says to me sarcastically. We look at one another for a second and then all crack up. Gina totally called me out, and it was exactly the right thing to lighten the mood. It was like she popped a balloon and all the built up tension rushed out. Amanda, since we were taken to the basement 5 days ago, the news on our little TV has been nothing but Hurricane Katrina. New Orleans is underwater, and it looks like a war zone. We feel bad for all those poor people who lost
Their homes. Rain is falling hard on the roof of the garage, and the news says our storm in Ohio is what's left of Katrina moving north. The garage door opens, and he comes in carrying a Giorgio's pizza and a bag of candy. When he opens the van door, he cringes from the smell and takes the bucket, dumps it out in the yard, then brings it back. It still stinks because he didn't bother to rinse it out. Even with the fan, there's no circulation, and we're all feeling sick. So we ask him for some air. He cracks open one of the little sliding windows. Keep your heads down, he says. He opens the garage door for a few minutes while he putters around near the front of the van. He's obsessed with making the house look normal so the neighbors won't suspect anything. The people on one side are from Puerto Rico, and he's always speaking Spanish with them. Usually on summer days, he's out in the yard or the garage working, so he says they might think something is strange if the garage door stays closed for days at a time. He doesn't miss a detail. He tells us Emily just arrived at the house. Gina, I'm lying here, hot and sweaty, trying to think about anything but the heat. Womp. What the hell? Somebody just smacked me with a pillow. Michelle, I shout. I didn't do anything, she says. That was Amanda. I look at Amanda and she's cracking up.
Okay, girl, I say, and I swing my pillow right back at her. Wump, wump, wump. It's a full-on pillow fight now. All three of us are slamming one another with our pillows and laughing like crazy. We better be quiet, I warn. But it's no use. This is too much fun. I can't remember the last time I had fun. Wump. I hope he doesn't hear us. August 29th, Amanda. I wake to the sound of the garage door. He opens it just enough to duck under and then pulls it shut again. I pretend to be asleep. I can't tell if Gina and Michelle are sleeping or not, but they don't move. When the door was open, I could see light, so it must be morning. He slips into the van quietly, crawls up next to me and says, "Take your clothes off." "Please, they're right here," I say, nodding toward Gina and Michelle. "Please, no. Just shut up and do it." He yanks at my sweats and is on top of me. It's such a small space, and I know Gina and Michelle have to be hearing this. I think of his daughter. She's now sleeping comfortably in the house while he attacks me 50 feet away. When he's done, he'll probably go inside and cook her breakfast.
We're watching afternoon TV when the garage door opens again. I guess it's time for the daily show for the neighbors. But instead, he unplugs our TV and fan from the garage wall, gets into the driver's seat, and puts the key in the ignition. What's he up to? Okay, I'm going to take the van out of the garage for a couple of minutes, he says. Get under your covers, don't get up, don't move, don't do anything. He starts the engine and pulls the van ahead just a few feet until it's completely out of the garage. It's so bright out that after all the darkness, it's so bright out that after all the darkness my eyes hurt. He gets out of the van and leaves the engine running. I peek out and see him go into the garage. Was the van blocking something he couldn't reach? Then I have an idea. Gina. Amanda whispers that she thinks she can reach the gas pedal. Oh my God. Her chain is too short, so she can't actually sit in the driver's seat, but she thinks she could probably press the gas pedal with her hand and ram the van through the gate across the driveway and out into the street. Somebody would have to notice that. Do you think we should? I whisper. She's never driven a car. I wonder if she even knows how to do it. This is terrifying. We've been fantasizing in the garage about how we could escape. He has a lawnmower, a snowblower, and some tools there. We've been talking about
how we could attack him with the lawnmower or hit him with a shovel. But it's just talk. We couldn't reach anything because of the chains. And what if we hit him on the head with a shovel and didn't kill him? Then he'd be so mad that he'd kill us. But Amanda looks serious. She's staring at the gas pedal. That's crazy, I say. Amanda, I can do this, but I have to move now. I have to stretch myself into the front seat area, put the car in drive, and push that gas pedal. I think the chain is long enough. If I can make a big enough crash, somebody will come to see what's going on. But what if nobody does? I'm trying to get my courage up. I can do this. I have to do this. I'm breathing harder. All I can see is that gas pedal. Gotta go now. Just then the driver's side opens and he hops in and reverses the van back into the garage. Good job keeping quiet, he tells us. I feel my whole body deflate. Did I just miss our best chance of escaping? Maybe our only chance? He plugs in the TV in the van and the fan, locks the van, and closes the garage door. We were outside for maybe 5 minutes. Now we're back in the dark. Why did I hesitate? I keep replaying it in my mind again and again and again. August 30th.
Amanda. He's back. It's dark outside, and he's in one of those nasty moods where you have to be extra careful. Emily's gone, so you're going back inside, he says. He unchains us, and we pick up our pillows. The only sound is the clinking of the chains as we walk across the yard. When we're back in the house, he tells us to fill the laundry baskets with our stuff. We're all moving to new rooms. I'm going back to the big room with the yellow walls that Gina and Michelle have been in together for a while. And they're being put into the tiny room next to it, which is not much bigger than a closet. The only way into their room is through my room, which has the only entrance to the hallway. So by bolting my door, he has all three of us trapped inside. It's simpler for him. I don't know why he put the two of them in the smaller room and me by myself in the big one, just when things are getting a little better between us. I'm afraid this is going to make Gina and Michelle resent me. When we have so little, it's easy to get jealous over even the smallest things. When we walk in, we see the chains waiting for us. He locks my ankle with one fixed to the big steam radiator. He links Gina and Michelle together by the ankles, and they sit down on one mattress. I hope they keep their promise and don't tell him anything that we talked about. September 6th, Amanda. Everyone in this house is a liar.
He just yelled at me for telling Gina and Michelle that he forces me to have sex. He's furious that I was thinking about trying to escape in the van. I'm scared about what he's going to do to me. Sometimes he hits me across the face. Sometimes he won't feed me or gives me only the worst leftovers. Other times he unplugs everything for days, my TV, my radio, my fan. How could they have told him those things? Maybe they didn't. Maybe he was spying on us. I go to their door and ask them why they talked. They claim they didn't. They say he knows things about them that I must have told him. So they're mad at me. I don't know what to believe, so I don't believe anyone. I'm done trusting anybody in this house. The only person I can rely on is me. Gina, I don't know what Amanda is so angry about. I didn't say anything to him. He told us that she thinks we're stupid and that she's helping him watch us. I can't believe that's true. She seems so nice in the van, but I don't know what the truth is anymore. I'm so annoyed that he moved me and Michelle into this tiny room. It's completely unfair. I guess I'm not the new girl here anymore. Why does she have the big room and the two of us are stuck in the shoebox? I ask him. She has more stuff than you, he says. You're putting us in a shoebox, I say, but he doesn't care. I just want to go home. I already missed my 15th birthday. I want out of here.
Christmas Day, 2005, broken heart. Amanda, my third Christmas here. I wake up chained next to him just as he's leaving to go to a family Christmas party. At least I have my tree. It's a little plastic green one from the dollar store that he bought for me. It's about 2 feet tall, and it came in a box with some ornaments and a string of different colored lights. I set it up on my dresser in early November to add a little cheer to this dull room. I try to go back to sleep because at least when I'm asleep, I don't feel lonely. When I wake up hours later, it's quiet in the house, so he must still be out. I plug in the tape I've been making of all the newscasts about me. My TV has a built-in VCR, so I can use it to tape over old movies. I record everything I can about my family on the news so I can see them whenever I want. I start writing in my diary and note the time, 2:57 p.m. Hi, Mom. How are you? Are you having a good day? I hope you all are. I'm sitting here crying. I miss my life. We're so close. I'm so lucky for that. I always had someone to talk to. Just the little things now are such big things. Saying good night or good morning or I love you. He comes in from his party. I think he's been drinking. Merry Christmas, he says. It doesn't feel like Christmas. I'm in prison. I'm usually careful not to talk back, but I can't help myself today. It's not a prison, he barks. You have it good.
It's worse than prison, I tell him. If I were in a regular prison, my family would know that I'm alive and they would come visit. Prisoners get to go outside for an hour a day. I can't do anything. I can't even feel sunshine on my face. I'm making him mad. You have TV, you have food, he shouts. If you were home, you would be slumming. You would be still working at Burger King. He storms out, slamming the door, and bolts it from the outside. I'm going to forget him and focus on happier things like what's happening at my house right now. It's almost dinner time, so I imagine my mom roasting a turkey and making ham and mashed potatoes. I bet she has music on. I wonder if Beth let Ryan Rissa open one present on Christmas Eve like we used to. I start writing again. This has taught me a lot, like never take life or anything for granted. Sitting down and eating dinner with your family or watching TV with them and talking and laughing. At 6 o'clock, I turn on the television and there is breaking news. My mom is in the hospital. She has some kind of pancreatic illness. She's lost a lot of weight and is in bad shape. Here I am feeling bad for myself, and suddenly everything is worse. Maybe I should be grateful for what I have, like he says. Please, Lord, make her better. Don't let her pass, especially while I'm here. I need to see her. She's my everything. She's gotten me this far. If something happens to her, I don't know what I'll do.
I cry for hours, flipping around the channels for more news of her, but there's nothing. I light my candle for Mom. I put her picture on my bed and lie down next to it. It's the only way I have to be close to her. December 26th. I've been up all night crying and watching the candle burn. I'm wearing my glow-in-the-dark plastic rosary. He had been keeping it in the bathroom as a kind of night light, and a few months ago I asked him if I could have it. He's not really religious anyway, so he doesn't care. He goes to church sometimes, usually St. Michael's, which has mass in Spanish, but I think he goes mainly to get the free food they give away. He says his mother joined the Jehovah's Witnesses and doesn't celebrate Christmas anymore. This is all my fault. If I hadn't gotten in that van and been kidnapped, my mom would be healthy. I'm sorry for everything I put her through. I keep having this dream. I'm free. I get to my house and run up the stairs and open the door, and my mom is sitting there watching TV, and I run to her and hug her so tightly. December 29th. Finally, on Channel 3 at 6, Mom is back on the news. She has an infection called diff, C. diff, because some doctor didn't wash his hands before doing surgery. They don't say why she had the surgery or when, but she had to have another operation today to stop the internal bleeding. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
If my mom dies, will you let me go to the funeral? I ask him. Sure, he says. Maybe he'd let me go in a disguise or come up with some other plan so that I could go out and he wouldn't get arrested. Hours pass until I hear another news update. It's worse. Now they're saying she's in critical condition. There's Beth at the hospital. She has a baby boy. I didn't even know she was pregnant. I wonder when he was born. I have my candle burning for you, Mom. Hang in there, and when I get home, I will take care of you. December 30th. On the news, I hear that my mother went in for yet another surgery today. That's 2 surgeries in 2 days. I've heard her tell TV reporters that not knowing what happened to me is the hardest part. I understand exactly how she feels because it's terrible not knowing how she is doing. December 31st. It's New Year's Eve. I have a little tape recorder he gave me, and I'm making a tape of Aerosmith songs Mom likes so I can listen to them and think of her. All of a sudden, the flame on my candle just got a lot stronger. I hope that's a sign. Maybe it means she's doing better. I keep watching the news, but they don't have anything about her. I miss my sister and can't wait to hold her new baby. I don't know his name, so I call him Little Man. I wish we could all be together on New Year's, eating great food. We always have Tennessee Pride sausage, the roll that.
You slice into patties. Just thinking about it is making me hungry. It's almost midnight, 10, 9, 8. Everyone on TV in Times Square looks so excited, but I'm crying harder and harder. There goes the ball. This is the third New Year's in a row that I'm not with my mom, locked up by myself in this room. Now it's 2006. Maybe this year will be better. January 25th. It's been a month since there's been any news about my mom. Maybe she's better and went home from the hospital. He unplugged my lamp, my TV, and my radio because he was mad at me. So I just sit here in the dark, though I can still write in my diary because I have the light from Mom's candle to help me. But now he comes in and he's being a jerk and I can't take it anymore, so I call him an asshole. Take it back, he demands. Take it back? What is he, 6 years old? You call me names all the time and you never take it back, I tell him. Apologize, he says, more angry now. When I tell him I won't, he takes a needle and digs it into my toe until blood starts pouring out and I scream. March 2nd. His alarm goes off before 6. I'm sleeping downstairs in the dining room with him. He's been making me do that a lot. It's Thursday, so he has to go to work. I still can't believe they let him drive kids on a school bus. He gets the key from the kitchen and unlocks the chain around my ankle. I don't want to wake up, but he
Walks me upstairs. He always stays so close behind me whenever I'm not chained that I can feel his breath, like I'm going to run. Where would I go? I don't need him hitting me or taking away my TV, and I do need sleep. I lie down on my bed and he chains my ankle. I think I'm going to have scars for life from these chains. I flip on the 6 a.m. news to see if there's anything about my mom. They're talking about the weather. It's freezing rain outside, 32 degrees with a wind chill of 21. Breaking news. Luana Miller, mother of Amanda Berry, has passed away from a massive heart attack. I can barely breathe. I stare at the TV. I'm numb. I don't know what else to do. I pick up a pen and start writing. March 2nd, 2006, 6:27 a.m., Thursday. Hi, Mommy. How are you? I know you're doing better because you're with the Lord now in a better place. At least I know you're not in pain anymore. You were in the hospital for almost 3 months. I'm so sorry I wasn't by your side. I didn't get to hug or kiss you, and I never will be able to again. Is this my fault? You were fine when I was there. I always pictured when I got to return, I'd run into your arms and squeeze you and see your beautiful smile, your beautiful face. But now I never will. I know you'll always be looking down over me and will always know where I am. I hope Beth saves everything because I need to have your scent and your stuff close to me. God must have needed an angel. There's no other reason he would have taken you. You're so young.
Why did God do this? I won't be able to even go to your funeral or touch you one last time. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for never giving up on me and everything you've done for me. Rest in peace. God bless you. Love, me. I watch the news all day. It's the top story. People on TV are saying my mom was never the same after I disappeared and that she died of a broken heart. Gina opens the door. Did you see the news? She asks me. Yeah, I say. I'm sorry about your mother. That's kind of her. I know she's being nice, but I don't want to talk to her about this. I just want to be left alone. I want my mom. He's gone all day until he comes back with bags of Wendy's for dinner. He's standing in the doorway between our rooms when I hear Gina ask him, Did you see the news? What news? He asks. He acts like he doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't. My mom passed, I say. I'm still crying. He doesn't say anything, but just hands me a bag. I shake my head. I'm not hungry. I want a cigarette, I tell him. You should quit, he says. He's been trying to get us all to quit, so I haven't had a cigarette in weeks. My mom is dead, and I really need a cigarette, please.
Okay, okay, he says. He goes out and returns a few minutes later with a pack of Marlboros. I light the first one and keep flipping the channels to find more news. I watch all night, not getting any sleep, but it's just the same stuff over and over, nothing new. It's already morning when he pushes the door open. That look in his eyes. I know what he wants. My mom just died, and this is what he wants from me? You can't do this, I say. I can't stop him. March 5th. Eminem's movie 8 Mile is on TV when he brings me a copy of The Plain Dealer. There's a story about mom on the front page of Metro. It makes me smile to see what Regina Brett wrote about her. She didn't act the way moms of missing children do on TV, delicately wiping tears with folded tissues while whispering pleas for help. Luana was angry. She chain smoked Marlboros. She didn't trust the police, so she put her own phone number on the flyers. She would cuss out the very people who tried to help her. Then she would apologize and sob like a baby, tears rolling down her big, puffy cheeks. That sounds just like her. I also learned from the article that she named me for a Conway Twitty country song called Amanda that starts, Amanda, light of my life. She used to sing it to me, but I didn't know that's where she got my name. I hope Beth saves all her stuff. I want to keep her toothbrush, soap, shampoo, her cigarettes, and lighter.
Everything she touched, the clothes, hairbrush, pillows, I want to sleep in her bed. You told me if somebody close to me dies, like my mom or dad, you would let me go to the funeral, I remind him. I never said that, he says. Yes, you did, I shout. Now he's mad. No, he says. I want to go to her funeral. Please let me go. He walks out. Of course he lied. I knew he lied. March 7th. The news shows clips from the funeral, and I see Beth carrying her new baby and Teddy and Aunt Teresa. I can't see anybody else because they're filming it from the back of the church. I wonder if Daddy is there. I see the casket. It's white. That's what I hoped they'd get. It has a gold trim and pink flowers on top. At least Mom doesn't have to be in pain anymore because from heaven she knows where I am and that I'm alive. I don't know where she's buried, but when I get free, I'm going to visit her grave all the time. I wish I had a cigarette or some weed for my nerves, but he has cut me off. He says it's too expensive. April 2nd. He says he tells me he saw a storage truck in front of my family's house. I don't know why he drives by there, but I'm glad to hear that Beth is saving Mom's stuff. Mom died a month ago today. I made her a butterfly with hearts on it. I saw on TV that she made a missing
Poster for me with butterflies. So they are going to be our special thing. I'm so sad and lonely I can barely eat. I want to die so I can be with her. April 22nd. Happy birthday to me. I'm 20. I have a secret. I think I'm pregnant. Oh God. I miss my period and I'm throwing up all the time. I think this has something to do with mom. It's crazy. All this time, and I've never gotten pregnant. But then she dies, and now I'm pretty sure I am. I think my mom sent this baby. It's her way of giving me an angel, someone to help me pull me through, give me a reason to fight. I think she is sending me a miracle. May 2006, first trimester, Amanda. Yuck, Fritos. When I was in high school, I ate them by the bag. Now, all it takes is one whiff and I'm puking my guts out. He has been leaving bowls of Fritos out in case he doesn't get home by dinner time, and I can't escape the smell. I try to move the trash can toilet as far from my bed as I can, but I need to keep it close enough that I can retch into it. I had no idea that's what pregnancy does to you. I worry about what he's going to do when he figures out that I'm having a baby. He's already begun to notice that the only thing I can keep down is milk and cereal. For every meal, I ask for the same thing: peanut butter Captain Crunch or cinnamon toast crunch cereal. I've been telling him I have the flu, but this is getting to be.
The world's longest illness. I feel dizzy and faint too, and I think my blood sugar is out of whack. I weighed about 120 pounds when he kidnapped me, and I'm probably 95 pounds now. I wish he had a scale because I still seem to keep losing weight. Last year, when he put us all in the basement in the van, Michelle told me that he beat her to make her miscarry. Oh my God. I once saw him slam Michelle into a wall. He said they were play fighting, just messing around, but Michelle said later that it was because he was trying to force her to have a miscarriage. If he didn't let her carry that baby, will he let me? He gets home from work and brings Burger King food to Gina and Michelle, and then comes into my room with a burger and fries. No thanks, I tell him. I'm too sick. I can't keep anything down but cereal. He looks at me suspiciously. Are you pregnant? I feel the breath sucked right out of my lungs. I think so. I miss my period. He doesn't say anything. I'm trying to read the expression on his face. Is he furious, happy, worried? He stays silent, but his eyes are saying, oh shit. I can tell he's thinking, I've seen this before. Whenever he has a problem, his mind starts turning as he figures out how to solve it. I'm frozen with fear as I watch him deciding how to solve this problem. Finally, he says, we could always bring it to a church right after it's born and leave it on the steps. Somebody would take care of it. Please, I say softly, I want to keep this baby. He doesn't answer, but only looks confused.
Gina, I hate summer in this house. It's the worst time of year. It must be 100 degrees in my room, sometimes hotter. I sweat so much that I soak my sheets. Sometimes it feels good to roll over into the puddle of sweat because it's a little cooler. It doesn't help that Amanda is puking constantly. The smell from her room is horrible. She lies too. She's been telling us she isn't pregnant, but then he tells us she is. I make fake puking sounds just to bug her and to let her know that I know she's pregnant. He gives her special treatment. He has the bigger room. She has the bigger bedroom to herself, and she has the nicer TV. I have to scrub the floor on my hands and knees, and she never does. He says she doesn't. He says she doesn't want to because it will mess up her nails. He always tells us that we have to have sex with him because she doesn't want to. She gets first choice of the food that he brings home. I used to be the favorite one, but those days are over. Now it's Amanda for sure. I think he actually likes her. And weirdest of all, when he's with me now, it's like he's trying to hide it from her. Let's go downstairs to clean, he tells me, loud enough that everybody can hear. Then we go to the living room where he forces himself on me. It's almost like he thinks Amanda would be jealous. Maybe she would be because things are just getting stranger here. I know it's mean, but it's fun to get on her nerves. She told me she hates the sound of people chewing with their mouth open, so when he gets me gum, I make sure to chew it really loudly. She comes to the door between our rooms and gives me a dirty look. It's so funny. I do it with bananas and hamburgers and fries too, so it sounds like a cow, and Amanda goes crazy.
She also hates the hip hop song Laffy Taffy. So whenever it comes on the radio, I turn up the volume. She screams at us to turn it down. And Michelle and I can't stop laughing. And we sing as loud as we can. Shake that Laffy Taffy. I don't know why I think it's so funny. I just do. July, second trimester. Amanda. I just watched the July 4th fireworks on Channel 3. He went to a barbecue at his mother's house, and now he's back with leftovers. For the first time in over 2 months, food smells good. In fact, it smells delicious. He brought us back ribs, salad, rice, and beans. I can't stop eating. Wow, you're hungry, he says, sounding like he actually cares. I'm startled because I remember all those times when I was hungry and begged him for food and he said no, but now he's being kinder. I hope this lasts. It's been a month since I told him I was pregnant. I don't feel nauseous anymore, but I keep fainting. Even though I'm finally eating real food now, I'm still not eating right. I wish I had vitamins, but he says I don't need them. One day I passed out and fell down on the floor of my room. He picked me up, put me on the bed, and made me ramen noodle soup. But another time I fainted in the hall upstairs and he just left me lying there. Wow. He was with me when it happened and decided that while I was passed out, he would go into Gina and Michelle's room and get what he always wants. I must have been lying there for
15 minutes, if not more, and when I came to, I saw him zipping up his pants and leaving their room. I don't know how he can treat me this way. I'm having a baby. What if there was seriously something wrong with me or the baby? Doesn't he care? I'm hurt and angry that he's still having sex with them, but I don't understand why I feel this way. He tells me that he's not, and he's always calling Gina his cousin and saying he wouldn't touch her. But it's obvious that he is. I hate it that he sneaks around and lies. I want to kill him, but I also want to be with him. God, what's wrong with me? September 22nd, digging for Gina. Gina. Hey, you're on TV, he shouts, waking me out of a dead sleep. It's about noon, and I was up all night like I usually am. I jump up and turn on my TV and see lots of cops at some house I don't recognize. The reporters say the police got a tip that some guy named Matthew Hurrett buried my body under his garage, so they're ripping the place apart with big machines. He comes to sit on the end of my bed watching with me. They ain't gonna find you, he says. Yeah, I tell him, no kidding. What a waste of taxpayers' money, he thinks. It's funny that the cops are looking in the wrong place. It's bad for me because it means they have no idea where I actually am. They're so close. The house is on
West 50th Street. I could easily walk there in maybe 10 minutes. I watch the live news coverage all day long. Hundreds of people are on the street watching. They say Harriet served time for molesting 2 little boys. The concrete floor in his garage is new, so the reporters are saying they think maybe he put it in to hide my body. They're even digging up under a doghouse. What if they do find a body under there? Maybe they'll tell my parents it's me just to keep them quiet. If they say it's me, then they won't have to look for me anymore, and it'll get my mom off their backs. No more vigils, no more explaining why the police haven't found me yet. I think they could do that. At about 8 o'clock, the police announced they didn't find a body. My mom is on the TV again and she's crying. I know deep in my heart that my baby's still out there, she says. I just want whoever has her to let her go. Just let her go so she can come home. October, 3rd trimester. Amanda, my ears are ringing, she says. It's like a national tragedy. I'm 6 months pregnant. My breasts and legs are sore. I can't sleep because of the chains. I'm getting more and more scared about delivering a baby alone in this house. And he thinks I care about his ears are ringing. So why don't you go to a doctor? I tell him. Maybe you should take me to the doctor too. Pregnant women are supposed to go to the doctor.
That came out a little sassy, but I'm so miserable that I don't care. He ignores me, thank goodness, and says, I'm going to the library. An hour later, he's back with a thick medical encyclopedia and starts reading all the reasons that his ears might be ringing. We're sitting in the living room, and I wait until I think he might be done worrying about himself. Can I look at that? I ask. Sure, he says, but only down here. You can't take it upstairs. Why not? Just do it. I know exactly why he won't let me take it upstairs. Somehow he figured out my plan to leave help me notes in his library books. I dreamed of doing that when I first saw that he was borrowing books. I thought about writing on a page inside. This is Amanda Berry. Please call the police. I am being held hostage by Ariel Castro at 2207 Seymour Avenue. Then I would wait until the next person checked out the book and found the note. I imagined the cops bursting through the door to rescue us, saying they got my message. But he thought of that too, and now makes a big point of showing me how he checks every page of a library book before he returns it. He does the same thing with the movies he borrows, giving us the disc, but always keeping the case. He doesn't want us to slip a note inside the cover. I take the medical encyclopedia and look up pregnancy. It says that at 6 months, the baby is already more than a foot long. Amazing.
I'd love to know if I'm having a boy or girl. I'd love to have a sonogram. I'd love to hear my baby's heartbeat and have a doctor tell me everything is going to be okay. I keep thinking about Beth being in labor for 18 hours with her first baby. She was in so much pain, but she was in the hospital. What will it be like for me in here? Is he going to help me deliver the baby? Do I have to ask Gina or Michelle? One good thing is that he seems interested in the baby. I still can't tell what he's planning to do when it's born, but for now, he's less mean to me. I told him yesterday I was craving butter pecan ice cream, so he went out and bought some. That's something. I think you're going to have this baby on Christmas, he says. It'll be like a Christmas miracle. December 19th. Until today, I haven't written a word about being pregnant in my diary. I've been too scared. If I write down that I'm having a baby and then he takes the baby away, somehow I think it will be sadder. I want this child. Hi, mommy. I guess I should tell you I'm pregnant, like 8 months or 9. I should be having the baby anytime. He says I can't keep it because of the situation. I'm not really ready, but I don't want the baby out in this cruel world without me. I keep writing to my mom. It's like talking to her. I tell her that this baby is part of me, living and growing inside me, not him. I used to worry that if I had the baby, it would remind me of him for the rest of my life, but I don't anymore. This is my baby.
I'm so close now. I am still pretty small, maybe 115 pounds, less than when I arrived here, but my stomach looks huge to me. I already feel more like we than I. Whenever I'm sadder or more depressed than usual, or when he does something especially mean and my hopes start slipping away, I rub my belly and talk to my baby. Christmas Day, 2006. New life. Amanda. The pain started a few hours ago and they're getting stronger. I wish I was in a hospital. I've been trying to get myself mentally ready for weeks, but I'm still so worried. It's 12:30 after midnight, so it's now officially Christmas. I've been watching TV while he's asleep next to me in his bed in the dining room. Lately, I've been sleeping down here most nights. He wants me to, and it's easier just to do what he wants. Sometimes it's even comforting to sleep beside him because it makes me feel less alone and less scared about being pregnant in this house. The bathroom is right next door, which is an even bigger deal now that I'm pregnant and have to pee all the time. But most nights he still makes me go in a bucket so he doesn't have to get up to unchain me. Wake up. I have to use the bathroom, I tell him. I'm in a lot of pain. He grunts, sits up, and goes to the kitchen and reaches into the red Pringles can on the table where he keeps the keys to my chains. He unlocks the padlock on my ankle. The chain seems even heavier these days, and it drops to the floor with a thud.
The heat is on, but because there's no radiator in the kitchen, it's freezing all winter. I hurry through it and into the bathroom. He's standing there, half asleep, leaning against the sink, waiting. He looks worried. He's already had 4 kids and he thinks I could be in labor. Do you think you're having the baby? He asks. I don't know, I say. Then I hear something go pop. It startles me. He heard it too, and I show him that there's a little blood. I think your water just broke, he says. But I didn't feel any gush. I'm starting to get more scared. What will I do if everything doesn't go just right? He won't take me to a hospital. I don't want to die here. I have to stay calm. I don't know what's going on, but you might be having the baby, he says. Let's go upstairs. He wants me to have the baby in my room because the windows are so well covered there. It would be hard for anybody to hear me screaming while I'm in labor or to hear a baby crying. He walks with me up the stairs slowly. I sit on my bed as he opens the door to Gina and Michelle's room. I think Amanda's water broke, he tells Michelle. Michelle and I haven't been getting along, and I don't want to want her near me, but I don't think I can do this without help. He has no idea what to do. But Michelle had a baby before she was kidnapped. Wow. So she knows what to expect. And she said that she also helped to deliver a baby for somebody in her family. Besides, he told her she had to help me, so she has no choice. He keeps Gina locked in the room. He runs upstairs to the attic and comes back with a plastic wading pool that he sets on the bed. It's white.
with blue lines and a whole bunch of colorful fish, and covers and nearly covers the whole queen size bed. Okay, he says, get in here. This is his idea for how to avoid making a huge mess because he doesn't want me to ruin his mattress. It's weird and uncomfortable, but I'm in pain and not arguing. I take off everything but my t-shirt. It's cold, especially with my bare skin against the plastic. I'm shivering and feel helpless and exposed. Can I have a sweater, please? I ask. He goes into another room and comes back with a warm black sweater. The contractions have really started now, and the pains are sharper. You're not breathing right, Michelle tells me. I don't know how to do it, I say, wishing I had a nurse to show me. It really hurts, and Michelle takes my hand. You've got to calm down, she says gently. You've got to breathe like this. She shows me how, puff, 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 and is being really nice. It's going to be okay, she says. These pains are freaking me out, and I start squeezing her hand so hard that she yells, ouch. She's just teasing and trying to make me smile. It goes on like this for what seems like hours. He sits down in an old rocking chair that he brought into the room and is reading a medical book, the chapters about pregnancy and birth. I scream as the contractions come faster. Be quiet, he shouts. Don't be so loud. Handing me a shirt, he tells me, bite on this.
I ball it up and put it into my mouth to muffle the sound. It's harder to breathe. The cloth is drying out my mouth, and I tell him I'm thirsty. He says he read that ice chips are best, so he hurries down to the kitchen to get some. He's barely out of the room when I push and the baby slips out. The next few moments are a blur. I think I pass out. Gina. In my room listening, I hear Amanda scream, the baby's not breathing. The baby's not breathing. Do something. For a minute, there's no sound, and I'm so scared. Then I hear a baby crying. Amanda. He comes back into the room, sees the baby. It's a girl, he says, smiling. Wow. He seems so excited to be a father again. His eyes are wide as he gently takes her from Michelle and cradles her in his arms. Let me hold her, I say. He and Michelle wrap her in a towel, and he hands her to me. I hold my baby on my chest and touch her for the first time. I can't believe her little face. Her eyes are wide open. She's so cute and so quiet. In the movies, new babies are always crying. She's just lying here with me, so calm. I'm amazed. I stare into her eyes. She's all I can see. Cut the cord, he tells me. You there?
Sorry. He's handing me my stubby little school scissors, the ones I used to cut pictures out of magazines. No, I'm scared, I tell him. I'm worried that I'll do it wrong and hurt her. No, he insists, you should do it. Finally, he sees that there's no way I'm going to do it, so he takes the little scissors and snips the cord. Soon after that, I push out the placenta. He says we should go downstairs and get everybody cleaned up. He turns up the radio in case the baby cries. It's Christmas music. He carries the baby as we walk down to the bathroom. I'm sore and still sort of in shock. He wants me and the baby to get into the tub with him. It's tight, but we figure out how to cross our legs so we all fit. He's washing her tiny body. She's so small, he says. You have to be really careful with her because she's so fragile. The look in his eyes is amazing. He's so in love with this little girl already. He's always telling me that his kids are the most important thing in the world. They are older now, and it's been a long time since he's had a little kid who depends on him for everything. There's not a lot of good in his life. It's his own fault, but sometimes I think he's as stuck in this house as we are. He and Nilda split years ago. He hates his job, and he's going to prison forever if the police find out what he's done to us. Now he's sitting here holding this beautiful baby who is nothing but pure goodness, and he's happy. I think she gives him new meaning in his life. He gives me a pair of his one-piece red long johns to wear, and they're soft and comfortable. It's almost morning and we're all hungry, so we step into the
Kitchen. It's so cold that Michelle holds the baby with a towel over her face to keep her warm. He starts frying eggs and sausages while I make toast. He tells me that it's unbelievable that I'm standing up cooking breakfast just hours after giving birth with no drugs or anything. I take the baby from Michelle and she gets some food for her and Gina, and we all walk upstairs. He goes into the room and chains Michelle again. I crawl into bed with my new baby. As he fastens the chain around my ankle, I think about my daughter being born into this prison and who her father is, but I try to focus on happier thoughts. She seems healthy and she's beautiful. I'm going to protect her, and the rest we will figure out as we go. He finds a brown cardboard box to use as a bassinet. We put some towels and a little pillow in it and set it on the bed, and he lies down next to it. He is smiling. I can't remember ever seeing him this happy. Oh my God, he says, a little odd. I can't believe I'm a dad again. A couple of weeks ago, we had been watching the Polar Express on TV when the baby started kicking like crazy. I reached for his hand and placed it on my stomach, wanting him to feel connected to the baby. I knew my baby would be safer and would have a better chance of staying with me if he was excited about being a new father. I think it worked because he seemed thrilled to feel the kicking in my belly. Then one night when I was trying to sleep on my stomach because the padlock was hurting me, he told me, "You can't sleep on your stomach because you'll hurt the baby."
I guess he had been starting to care, but I don't think he had ever been completely sure, right up to today, that he'd let me keep this baby. Now he can't stop looking at his daughter. I wake up a few hours later when I hear the baby crying. I try to get her to breastfeed, but no matter how hard I try, it's not working. Can you please go to the store and get some formula? I ask him. No, he tells me, you can feed her yourself. He says he doesn't want anyone to see him or risk that a store camera might film him buying baby things. We don't have a blanket or diapers or formula, nothing. He tells me to watch a breastfeeding video. He didn't have to get one for me because he already had one in his porn stash. Ooh.
Oh, geez,
he, he
right.
is he is so obsessed by breasts that it even turns him on to watch breastfeeding. Oy. Hours pass and the baby is not latching on and she's still crying, but takes a few drops of water from a little spoon. What will I do if she gets sick in here? I'm just a few blocks from a big hospital, but I might as well be shipwrecked on a desert island since I have no chance of getting her to a doctor. She needs diapers, I tell him. He leaves the room and comes back a few minutes later with scissors and a handful of old white athletic socks. He trims the top off and then cuts two little holes in the toe for her legs. We slip her into it, and that's her first diaper. Then he takes another sock and cuts a bigger hole in the toe for her head and two little holes for her arms. We slip it over her head, and it's like a little dress.
It's her first outfit. I want to call her Priscilla, but he hates that name. I don't know why I care what he thinks about the name, but I do. I need him to feel like he's a part of her life. I want him to feel invested in her because I think that will keep her safe. I can't think of too many girls' names that I like. So he gets a phone book and we start going through it. He suggests some suggests some that I hate, mainly Spanish ones, and I like some others that he rejects. Finally, I think Jocelyn. When I was little, I had a friend called Jocelyn, and I always loved that name. He's not crazy about it, but he says okay. I want to give her a middle name to honor my mom, but there's no way I'm calling her Jocelyn Luana because mom never liked her name. But mom loved Aerosmith, and one of the songs she always sang to me was called Jaded. So I decide Jocelyn Jade Berry. Are you okay with stopping here, Cinnamon?
Yeah, we're almost at the end of
Oh, are we?
part two. I think so.
Let me see.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
just, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll finish the
we're
page. I'm sorry.
we're
I
almost
was
there.
like,
That's
oh my
okay.
God, this is a long one.
I know it is, but we're almost done.
But I didn't want to forward to like mess things up. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
finish the page in that. Sorry, guys. All right. Jocelyn is 3 days old. and has not eaten yet anything yet. Oh Jesus. And all she's had is water, and she has been crying a lot. I tell him I'm doing my best, but she's a baby. She cries. He walks around with her to try to get her to quiet down. He goes kind of crazy when she wails, so he turns the radio up even louder. The neighbors won't hear Jocelyn crying, but the loud music makes it harder for her to sleep. I've given up asking for formula. He says it's expensive and never goes on sale. I keep trying to get her to breastfeed. Come on, baby. We can do this. I start praying that my mom makes my little baby a fighter.
After hours and hours, she finally latches on and doesn't let go. She's drinking, and I know she's going to make it. Someday I'm going to have a lot to explain to her.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
That was a heavy, heavy, heavy read.
Oh, I know. Very, very heavy.
And I gotta tell you, I was like, uh, thank goodness I didn't have to read the part where the mom dies, because I probably would have lost it.
I almost did. I
Yeah.
almost did. It was hard. That was so hard. I wasn't expecting it. And when the note, and having to, see it all on the news, and just I remember after my mother died, that feeling of as much conflict as I had with her. I remember those hours right after, and I was just so many emotions, but I was just heartbroken, and oof, yeah, that came
Well,
right back.
my relationship with my mom was a lot like hers. So, like, I still can't talk about my mom's death, and it was over 10 years ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like, and I'm more sensitive than most people. So it's just, that's how I am. And, and I'm like the type, like, death happens, you know what I mean? But when my mom died, I acted like, I, death was more grave to me than anybody else, but it's not. Death happens in people's families, and um, so I had to, get, you have to get over it. But I like, still to this day. So I understand, but but she had a very clearly, very, very close connection with her mother, and then now she's in captivity. But I also love the fact that she was like, my mom is peaceful now. You know,
yes.
my mom is, and I felt that way too about my mom, because my mom had been sick for a long time. But my mom is peaceful now. She's in a much, much better place. She knows I'm safe. She knows I'm okay. But then, boom, she gets pregnant right away.
Ay, ay, ay.
And the whole circumstances around her having that baby is just so gross and sick. And like, to be to for him to be happy about all of this, and there's no there's no proper care for this child, and he's fucking making diapers out of his disgusting socks that he's probably
Oh,
for really gross things. And
the
oh my,
plastic swimming pool that she had to climb in to have the baby.
yes. And
Just, yeah,
oh, and the way she learns about breastfeeding is from breastfeeding porn. Fucking A, man.
I know, right? I mean, that is like, oh, truly
Oh,
sick.
Jesus Christ. People in this world can be so fucking depraved.
But how complex the emotions are, because she started to feel a little jealous. I don't know if that's the right word, that
Well, yeah,
he was
exactly.
having sex with, the other two, and not with her. And I think that must have been so conflicting for her. And the fact that he's this disgusting, gross human being is the father of this child,
Yeah.
it's like, ah, oh,
Hey,
I mean,
PK, good to see you. Hello, Zero Villa. Sorry.
whew, that's a name.
Like, but anyway, yeah. So, and she hated herself for feeling that way.
Right, right.
She's like, I don't
Yes.
want to feel this way, but I feel this way. You
Yeah.
know, I I understand that feeling because, like, I knew what my dad did to me, but I still wanted him to like me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I still wanted, like, part of I don't feel that way anymore. Definitely don't. Definitely don't. But, uh, at a point in time, I still wanted him to approve of me and like me and, so it's sometimes it's more almost about wanting their approval than really feeling something toward them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I don't know what you call that, but it's so. Um, I mean, I've heard this from a lot of people that, and I felt that way too, even with my mother. I hated her, I loved her, I hated her, I loved her.
Yeah,
I wanted her to approve of me. I was sad when she died, and then I was like, at some point I was like, oh, now I felt relief.
relief,
But
right, right.
just, just it's just I guess it's just part of being human and having a soul, and you know, um how our psyche works. And I don't know how to explain it, but I totally get it. I totally get what you're saying.
Well, and I think, human beings are like, well, especially kids like Amanda and Gina and Michelle, but one of the reasons they were taken is because they were, vulnerable girls who were,
Right.
had kind of, tough childhoods. It's not that they had terrible mothers or anything, but they were, products of single homes and, broken homes, whatever you want to call it. And they were young. They were young. And when they're young, they're much more immature and vulnerable and looking for more approval and attention from outside themselves than getting it from inside. And so when somebody does give them that approval, they want to keep that approval from that person, even if that approval comes with abuse,
Right.
right? It's really complicated. And so then when you start to grow up and realize, oh, that wasn't them really loving me. That was just them, yeah, vulnerable and naive, exactly. And that wasn't really them loving me. That was
It's
them
them
just
being fucked up. Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was them just drawing me in so that they could, they were just being sweet to draw me in so that they could do whatever they wanted, right? Um,
Exactly.
and then you feel like, well, then I was stupid. No, you weren't stupid. You were just lied to. You were
Right.
manipulated,
Right.
and so now
Right.
you just learn how to, learn from that. And um, oh man, and I was reading the chat as we were reading, and they were talking about how, and it sounds like it by what we just read, Michelle was treated worse.
Yeah, I saw that. I guess I need to read that book. Her books.
Yeah, they were. I mean, so she wrote two books, or she wrote more than one book because I heard, and I don't know if Sparkles is still in the chat, but she said I read Michelle's books, plural.
Yeah.
So, which is interesting. So, and in this book, they were talking about how um, apparently he threw her against the wall to make her miscarry.
Yeah.
Horrifying. Absolutely, I believe so. I remember there being two, but maybe it was one and this one and hers. Okay, gotcha. But um, and 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 my understanding is that her family, that like nobody even reported her missing. Like she didn't even really have a family or something, or maybe I don't know. I don't want to get into it because there's just too much open ended. I don't know. But anyway, it's just, these girls were totally mind fucked. The what we're reading in this book, where they were totally mind fucked. And to know that Michelle was treated even worse, that's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Are you safe from the fires? I gather.
Well, I was going to ask you.
Yes, I am.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah, and
I
my son is too, which is good. And
Oh, good. I was going to send you a message, and I figured I'd just ask you, but I'm glad because boy, is that what we can't even get into it. There's so much there. Those
yeah.
fires and those poor people. I'm up north, so no fires up
Oh, that's
here.
right. Man, I always do that. Man, so I'm so sorry. I know you're up north. I'm
That's
so
okay. No, no,
sorry.
no, that's okay. I know you're down south, so I was thinking about you this week. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, but
sometimes when people are in California, I forget whether
I
it's warm
know. I
up,
do
and
have family. Yeah, I
rain is.
do have family down there. They're in the Santa Clarita area, so
Mm,
hasn't gotten that far yet. But it things could change on a dime.
yeah,
Sparks and embers and wind and
arson,
whatever.
arson.
Arson, for God's sakes.
Yeah,
What?
arson. That's the other thing that has been getting to me is like, holy shit, when the natural fires start, then the arsonists come out because that's, hey, let's just add to this cruelty.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go light some
add to that.
fires.
Let, let's just be assholes. And then, I understand that people don't like California. I get it. I understand. I understand. But fucking A, why does everything have to be fucking politicized?
Everything. And especially if it
Immediately.
has to do with California, so
Yeah.
much hate is thrown our way. I've been feeling that this week. I've been feeling really mad and upset because of all of this, and the politicizing of the situation is just it's just disgusting.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
as
disgusting.
it's as if we don't deserve to be oh, go ahead and burn California because you deserve it. Because
Yeah.
you're
Your governor fucked up, so
yeah,
that's what you get. That's what you get.
what
So yeah,
fuck you,
I
man.
know.
Maybe he did fuck up, but that's not what we're going to talk about right now. People's houses are burning. Jesus Christ. It's just so, I fucking hate that shit, man.
I know, me too.
Oh,
Me too. I know. It's really gotten to me this week. I've just been, and I keep watching because I'm afraid that things are changing and the fire's moving in different directions.
yeah.
And, I'm just keeping an eye open, but my God, it's just unbelievable where the whole politicizing thing has gone. And even, the female fire chief, I forget her name.
Oh,
That
yeah.
whole thing where supposedly she was fired by the mayor, and then they went down the road of, do you know that all of these women are, there's like 3 women in this fire department that are lesbians, and I'm like, seriously, are we going there?
Oh,
is
my.
this is this what we this is what we've come to? This is, and I can just hear people, that I know who would say, oh yeah, women can't, they can't
Oh, well, they
they
can't
should,
be fire chiefs.
yeah, they can be fire chiefs. They're not strong enough. They're not this. Oh, they have to be, lesbians to do that. Look how big they are. And
Yeah.
I can just hear it, and I'm just, oh my God, I'm just
Everybody has to be categorized and then generalized because of that category. Just, fuck,
exactly. And
dude.
then and men will say, "Oh, it's the DEI thing. They had to hire them because of DEI." And I'm like, "What? Where is this fucking going?"
Y'all
Right? It's
sound like a bunch of idiots. It's just,
stupid. They're just stupid. Yeah.
oh, God.
And
Anyway.
that's the conclusion I came to, is that they're all stupid. So I'm just going to leave it at that because
All three fire chief, all three crazy,
yeah,
and
that's right.
all three, are they really?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's right. They are. They're all three of them are
That's
crazy.
fucking funny.
I
That's funny.
know.
We are only going to hire female fire chief named Christina, and they
Yeah.
must be gay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're
Uh,
right, Solo. It is gonna be a long 4
no,
years.
it's been a long 20 years. I'm
That's
sorry.
true.
It's,
That's true.
I,
Yes, it's true.
it's not, it's, I don't want to make this into a thing, but yeah. Anyway, all right, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you guys. This
Reading
was
through that,
heavy. Yeah.
reading through that heaviness with
Thank you
me.
for hanging in there.
Thank you. And since you're not going to be here next week, I may not. Read next week. We'll see. We'll
Okay.
play it by ear. But you have a
Okay.
fantastic trip.
Oh God, please pray for me. I'm going to be in the middle of Houston,
Yeah.
and I'll be the only woman at the table, I'm pretty sure. So you can imagine, just think of me, think good thoughts, throw them my way.
I know
And,
you'll be able to wear your
I'll come.
armor. Wear your armor now.
I know, right?
Yeah.
My cone of protection.
Wear
Um,
your get like a Cersei Lannister outfit.
yeah.
Like
That's great. I love that.
with
I
like
love that. Yeah.
her boobs and stuff. And
I know. I'm going to have to bring some sage with me and burn
yeah.
it. Anyway, I'll tell you all about it when I get back.
All right.
I'm
Good.
sure I'll have some stories. Anyway, thank
Thank,
you.
thank you. And thank you, everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you all being here, and have a lovely rest of your Sunday and stay safe. It's a mean and cruel world out there.
It is. It is.
All
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Bye.